Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's the Friday Live. Marc Lawrence, Sean Higgs, and we'll be having your comments. Eventually, we'll get to the chat. I mean, you gotta love when we put the room up early, and we already got Todd coming in here right off the bat. Like, go Toronto! Yeah. The Blue. I gotta say, I know you're not a huge baseball guy, but I think that the Jays wrap it up tonight, believe it or not. I think the Dodgers get the pressure gets to them. Dave Roberts, I don't think, is a great coach. I think they lose here to Toronto. Hats off to the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays win.
You know, I got to say one thing here, Sean. I'm a huge baseball fan. I grew up selling scorecards at Cleveland Municipal Stadium just so I can get a free ticket into the games. That's how much I wanted to see the games. But today, I hadn't watched a lot of baseball here lately, but I did watch Ohtani get beat. And when I was watching the game, the impression just hit me. I said, I'm looking at like who is the next Babe Ruth? This guy is absolutely phenomenal, Ohtani, with what it is he can do. His skills, they're incredible. I mean, maybe the best offensive player in baseball, and he can pitch dynamite, lights out games for you. I've never seen a player with two-way skills like he's got before in my life.
Definitely special. I know there's when we go across different generations, it's like tough comparing guys, but he's good. I mean, he comes in, he pitches, 5-6 innings, he's fabulous. He hits 50 homers. And I remember back when Ichiro came over, and they said that he was a guy, like in batting practice, he could launch like home runs, right? But he didn't want to hit home runs. He just wanted to just lay base hits and bat like 340 every year or something. I'm wondering, looking back, if he sees Ohtani's home run process stuff, he would have been like, you know what? I could have came here. And Ricky Henderson was a great leadoff hitter, the best. He could have came in and be like, you know what? I'm going to be better than Ricky. I'm going to hit 35 homers a year in a leadoff spot and steal bases. Right? I mean, I've seen those clips of him at batting practice in the All-Star game, just launching home run after home run after home run. He didn't want to be a home run hitter. He just wanted to be kind of a slap guy, get on base, steal, average guy. But Ohtani's on another level. I mean, I'm not even going to say that he's a guy who can just throw his interpreter under the bus. Like, no one else has interpreters to protect him. I mean, let's jump down in the conspiracy well here for a second, Mark. How is it that a couple guys on the Cleveland Indians, they're out of baseball after like a week investigation, right? Like, it's like, oh, look, these guys are doing all this stuff wrong. These NBA guys, right? There's the NBA investigations in the making for 3 years with all this player prop stuff. Ohtani's guy takes the fall after like a 2-week investigation. How's that possible? Is that a little bit of a red flag? Like, come on now.
Well, it is a red flag, and, it was kind of swept under the rug nice and quietly and, never really opened back up again because, they don't need the ugliness of the best player in baseball, being vilified for wagering. And I don't know if he was wagering on his games. I kind of really rather doubt that. He doesn't need to wager on his games. He doesn't really need to wager per se, but it's in his blood. He's probably doing just that.
It's competitive, yeah.
Yeah, he's from a competitive standpoint, exactly. But that's what I guess interpreters and agents are all about, is shielding the athlete from any disgrace that could possibly happen.
And with his realtor, with the things going on with the real estate, like I bash LaFloppy. Like, I'll bash like LeBron for changing teams and being a crybaby and this and that. Other than that, though, you don't see him off the field doing crap like that, right? You never hear crazy stories about him getting in trouble, right? A lot of guys get in trouble for nonsense, speeding, other kind of stuff. This guy, again, it just looks bad between the gambling and then the thing with the like fraudulent housing real estate stuff. Like, what the heck, bro? Again, this is not to turn this into like some other kind of conversation, but that, to me as a fan, that doesn't look good. Like, really, fella, you've been in the league for 5 years, and you got like big kind of things looming over you as crazy stuff. And a guy like, again, I'll kill LeBron for changing teams and being a softie and stuff like that. But off the field, there's nothing. There's no speeding. there's no guns, there's no domestic driving, domestic violence, there's no violence, right? There's no, you don't hear nonsense that comes out about a lot of people, whether drinking, anything, right? What do you hear bad about? Maybe steroids? All right, who cares? A lot of guys probably on steroids in leagues. But Ohtani stuff is like heavy stuff that just nobody talks about because look at him, he pitches and hits.
Masterful, too, on top of it, yes.
Well, anyway, I'm sure, listen, the Dodger fans are going to come out and force after me now. They did last time when I brought up who's the interpreter, whatever. I don't care. The best thing is the Dodgers going to lose. Then what? Go cry for 5 months. Go cry for 5 months. We'll see you next year. You'll be the odds-on favorite again with your $400 billion payroll.
Well, they'll just tweak it. You know that, Sean.
Doesn't mean, listen, let's segue this into what we're talking about now, some football. We've seen teams spend money in football to try to buy teams and players. And, Eagles, look at this, best team money can buy. And going back to crazy contracts to bring players in. Doesn't mean it's going to rationalize that into championships. Buying championships, not the way. Not the way. How many teams have we seen fail with that?
Well, we're seeing it in college football now, college sports, buying players, making your roster as strong as it could possibly be. Texas Tech, witness them. And that's not the only team, for sure. It's not the only team. They're just the ones that we've been made aware that is said to have spent the most money in the offseason on this roster. Right.
And exactly. And it's delivering for Tech. It's delivering. But for the Red Raiders, I don't know here. They're definitely a dark horse, right? Because who is the depth of these teams is what's in jeopardy, right? Mark, we've talked about this before. Your Alabamas and Georgias, who used to be able to go in, or Ohio State, whoever you want to put in there, your big blue blood kind of schools that are always in the mix. They always had the advantage because, hey, you come here, you're going to the championship game, you're probably going to get drafted somewhere, if not in the first round, maybe in the fourth round. You take a little bit less money, come here because of everything that goes with it. Now you're plug-and-play guy. You're not just restocking NFL draft picks because that guy's going to be like, you know what? I can go play in the Big 12 or wherever, get my money and be a superstar and still get drafted because now I don't have to wait a year or two or wait for somebody to get hurt, right? I mean, this is where I think it hurts the Bamas and Georgias and even Clemson's. I think Saban saw that coming down the pike. He's like, I'm getting the hell out of here, man. This is, and let's be honest, those guys are probably doing a little kind of stuff like most teams, bigger teams probably do some shady money in a bag kind of stuff, or somebody gets a job or stuff like that. But
you're going to see, I believe you're truly going to see National Football League players playing in, or National NBA basketball players playing back in college basketball. They're going to sit the Pines, they'll be at the end of their careers, and all of a sudden there's an opening at Arkansas. John Calipari's got a lot of money. He wants to buy somebody, and lo and behold, it's somebody who was the sixth player with the New York Knicks 5 years ago. And there you go.
Well, how is it possible? I guess because the G League guys can come back and play. Is the argument based on, well, if we have guys from Australia or Europe coming to play in college and they play on a pro league or a pro team over there, what's the difference because it's just a minor league team?
That's a good thing.
Is that what it is for the G League? Because that G League guy there is going to play in college and like, wait a second, how the hell are you going to, from
he's
G
been
League
paid.
to college?
He's a professional, right? Exactly. So what's the difference between the G League guy and the guy that retired 2 years ago from the NBA to go back and start playing basketball again in college, in the colleges? Because there is no governing law or body in the NCAA anymore. So you might see somebody who retired 2 years ago on a roster, on a college basketball roster here sooner than later.
Do they have eligibility? I mean, how's he coming back? Is he coming back as a great player? Or is it a guy who just skipped high school and went to the G League coming back with no college eligibility?
Well, you know what they'll do, Sean? They'll go so far as to go back into what he did in college, and they'll find out, oh, he left school after 2 years, so he still had 2 years of college basketball eligibility left, and that's what they'll bring him back with, 2 years of eligibility for college basketball, and he can haul down $10 million. So it's the world we live in, you know.
I mean, if do you really want like a 36-year-old guy coming into play? Is he going to be that much better? I mean, maybe he is. Let's be honest. You played in the NBA for 10 years and you're going to come in and just drain threes. I guess you can bring something to a team. I guess, you like who let's bring. I mean, like if Dwight Howard's 40, can he go and play for like South Indiana? Like, would he help them get to a conference championship if he comes in and plays off the bench, like rebounding and just
Would Dwight Howard help them? If Dwight Howard were in shape, absolutely he would help them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of guys who skip college totally, or I'm trying. I can't even think of guys. I'm sure there are, because how many players get roped into after a year or two of college, or even just hyped up from their entourage and people around them to go pro to make money. How many aren't good? Like every year is like, oh, we got to draft this guy in the top. I mean, the NBA is league. We got to get younger. Like dude, these kids aren't even developed at 20 years old. They're not even like physically a man yet, emotionally or developed wise. Like baseball, we're just talking about prime years are what? 26, 27, 28, 29. That's your physical peak, best performance. Why do you want a bunch of 19-year-olds that aren't even physical specimen? I mean, Wemby's apparently grown 3 inches, and the guy's 20 years old. Like, he's not even done growing. You know what I'm saying? Like, how these kids get forced out. I could see them coming back. They want their money. They leave after their freshman, sophomore years. Like, right. Their agent or friends are like, oh, your family. And they're not good. How many washouts and busts have there been? Like, oh, he's going to be great in college or in NBA. How many guys are just, all right, well, he's all right, averages 15 points a game. You could have been averaging 27 points a game. You could have been a superstar, but you didn't develop properly.
Well, you've often heard the analogy in college basketball that a really, really good college basketball team ranked perhaps in the top 5, if they went up against the worst team in the NBA, they would get drilled. It wouldn't even be a matchup. So you think, how could that be? But that's the talent level, the difference, the gap between the two.
Yeah, I mean, forget about talent, just size and development. I mean, it's my son's 18. He thinks he could still take me. It's not happening, fella. No, we're grown men, and you're still a child at 18, 19, 20 years old. You're kids. We've been all over. We've been baseball, gambling, no money. We're all over. Jesse Shule's like, Edie or Dwight Howard. I'm taking Dwight Howard, he says. Jimmy Fredette. I love it. Dirk for the Gators. Anything's possible here.
There you go.
Real fast before we get into some football, though. You're a big baseball fan, right? You said you like baseball as a kid growing up. You're a fan of baseball.
Yes, I sure did. Right.
Obviously, the playbook is football. It's again, and you go all into that. You'd be probably a great baseball because, I mean, talk about numbers. There's a lot of numbers we could tackle in baseball. It's just a literal numbers game with everything. On base, OBS plus, ribbies, walks, exit. I mean, I'm not a huge exit velocity, that kind of nonsense, guys. I like my whips and my WARs my whips and my batting average against when it comes to pitchers. But the WAR stat, oh my God, I hate that, Mark. I hate when I see that wins above replacement. I want to smash mirrors in my house. To
me, that's analytics just overtaking the world of handicapping. Is trying to pry down and drill and drill and drill and drill. And they love discovering new analytics that have never, ever been discussed or found before. So that becomes the new kid for the flavor of the month, per se. I'm with you, Sean. I do my whips, and I do largely of what I do and the way I was started on all this stuff. When we handicap baseball, the first thing we look at are the pitchers. We grade the pitchers. Yeah. And it served us so well for so long. But now, first of all, then when these started going to the bullpens and these starters aren't making 6 innings anymore, that becomes really, really difficult. And I had a real rock solid baseball system that I was using, and it was so terrific. And it was just absolutely taken away from me when I would grade the 2 pitchers, and they were both in what I called A+ form, for their whatever numbers I used to get there. And they would hook each other. And what I would look to do would be to play them under, okay, but under the first 5 innings, okay, because they don't figure to bust, okay, in situations like that. But that's been all taken away from us. Just You have to deal with the cards that are being dealt today, and I don't like the cards that are being dealt today. So I'll beg out. I'll choose to defer.
One last thing for Football Friday before we get into Football Friday. We'll call it baseball bitching. The phantom runner at second base, if it's not good enough to use in the World Series, take it out of regular baseball. Oh, we got to speed it up. No, you don't. No, you don't got to speed it up. If you're not using something during the postseason, why are you using it during the regular season? It makes no sense to me.
Why is there an urgency to speed it up? I mean, the National Football League games go 3 hours plus. Why do you have to speed Major League Baseball up?
I don't get it. I hate the pitch clock, the phantom runner. I just want to club somebody like a baby seal. It's terrible.
Especially when you lose to a phantom runner. I hear you, Sean.
Oh, I mean, don't get me started. How many times like your totals go to die in that inning? Run lines losers. I mean, you're happy if you got a run line because you're like, oh wow, if I got a road team on run line, I'm going to win here because you get a freebie guy. But it's terrible. All right, if you're still sticking around, hit the like button here. We're going to actually talk football on a Football Friday with Marc Lawrence today. Like, share, subscribe, notification bell down here. Check out all of our top plays, best bets at gamblersworld.net. But let's get into – there's a lot of most of the comment. Man, we got a ton of comments, but it's a lot of we're talking about the kids going back to college. King D, Mars in the house, baseball talk, Dodgers in 7. I don't know. There we go. We got festive things from StreamYard up here. MJ baseball, Otani. Yep. LeBron's on the juice, says Jesse. Mr. Weskers, trust me. Thank you, Mr. Weskers. Penn State. What about Penn State? Are we talking about, is this Penn State, Ohio State? Jess, you want to talk about 20-point underdogs? In September, this line was 3. That's what happens when you go from being the number 1 team in the country to, I don't know, 64th. Where is Penn State now? Where is Penn State? 20.5-point underdogs, Mark. And I'd say, you know what? Lay it. I think Penn State, no coach. The players are probably transferring out in no man's land. 2 close games the last 2 years. I know you're not a huge guy who's going to come in here and tell me to lay 20. You're definitely going to be like, that ain't happening. But I couldn't tell you to take Penn State. No way.
Well, without the quarterback on top of it, it makes it really, really difficult. So the question is there enough talent that was there at Penn State that's left to be competitive? And the question there then is why would they choose to want to be competitive? They're not going anywhere. This football team might not win a game for the rest of the football season. That's the state of mind that they're in. And you have to handicap their mental as much as you do their physical ability. So I'm going to stay away from this game like with a 10-foot pole.
Indiana next. And you know Indiana's going to love to run these guys up. Indiana's going to push them right out of the building. And it's a home spot, so you won't be laying too much with Indiana. Probably laying 2 touchdowns, I'm guessing. All right?
Well, I've got this thing in our newsletter that we do, and it's pretty popular, especially this time of the year. And what we're looking to do is from game 9 on out, if you're a road favorite, okay, and you're playing a football team that has a winning record, these are when the losses occur. And, these undefeated teams, you've got 2 of them in this particular role this week, Indiana and Georgia Tech. And you're going to go out and lay points. You have to use Maryland and NC State to bring the money home in these 2 particular football games. And this Indiana football team is every bit as good as anybody in the Big Ten this year. I don't think anybody can argue that. We're going to find out how good they are when they face Ohio State for the Big Ten championship. Which is what's ultimately going to come down to. But it doesn't mean Indiana has to roll it up every freaking football game. All he needs to do right now is keep his football team healthy and keep them alive for the Big Ten championship and the college football playoff. I don't think he's going to prove anything by keeping his foot on the pedal continuously in a football game like this. Now, you're going to talk about Maryland. Here's a football team that I can use. You've got the one thing about Indiana, though. Let me say this. Every opponent they've played this year has scored their season low yards against or low points against Indiana. The lowest points that they've scored for the year have all come against Indiana. This defense is freakishly good and really, really a bit under the radar per se, if you will. There's only been 1 game this year where they didn't allow a season high or hold a team to a season best in yardage. So there's no shooting holes at Indiana. They're all that good in everything they're built up to be. But I have to do what I have to do, and I have to live by my database, and I have to live by what I call, this is a situation I call as the noose tightens. And the noose does get tighter for these guys, Sean, at this stage and point of the football season. On the road as a favorite against a winning team. It's where if the crack is going to happen, it's usually going to happen in a situation like this. I think personally you have a much better chance of Georgia Tech and Indiana going 0-2 than you do of them going 2-0 to the spread this week.
See, I agree with the Tech because I think North Carolina State's worth a shot there as a little home dog. The Maryland one's a little trickier because, a couple weeks ago we talked about them, and I said, man, I really love them here against Washington if this was like the noon game for Washington, right? But it was a 3 o'clock game, 3:30, whatever, and they ended up blowing that game. Like they right out of the gate, they couldn't keep. So those kind of things sit in my head. Like now you're going to come out and be juiced up for Indiana, where Indiana's this guy. I mean, he likes to run it up. That's why I'm thinking like maybe they win by 18 here, right? They don't cover. That's fine. The Penn State game next week, I'm looking to unload on Indiana next week. That's a game I think he wants to run it up on a rival and a team that, look at this. We dropped 60 on Indiana, or on Illinois. We're going to drop 60 on Penn State too. I can't wait till next week. That'll be my November stuff your turkey, lock of the millennial.
And next week. And you'll have Indiana going into Happy Valley with a revenge chip on their shoulder on top of it.
I just think it's a great spot next week. That's why, listen, I like Indiana. I don't want to lay 21 with anybody. Next week, though, I'm going to be all over those cats for sure. The Penn State team, I think, like you said, where they emotionally, I think they're done, right? I mean, you were what, the 1 or 2 team to start the year, and you struggled. Quarterback hurt, coach fired, losing in Northwestern and UCLA. Oh my goodness, this team's what a hot mess. I want nothing to do with Penn State. Nothing to do with Penn State.
No, well, after the Franklin scenario, that ugliness that all happened there, they started out the season with 4 wins in a row, won the yards all 4 games. Now they've lost 4 games in a row and lost the yards in all 4 games.
No covers in those games, though, Mark. They didn't cover anything.
On top of it. So it's a tale of 2 seasons here for Penn State. I guess you could say they covered against – I guess they did cover against Iowa because they were the dog. So it is a tale of 2 seasons here for Penn State, but you're catching them on the bottom end or the back end of a season here, and I don't think you need to wake them up and say, hey, guys, it's time for you to step up and start to play good again. You just can't ask that of football teams that have the problems that Penn State has.
Too much. I agree with you there. Too much to ask for a team already struggling,
right? Not
interested. How about here Stanford catching 14 at home versus the Pitt Panthers? Red hot, 4 straight wins for these guys, 4 straight covers by almost like 20 a game. Freshman quarterback's been really great. I don't know, man. You trust Narduzzi on the road laying this? Stanford's got a couple upsets already here at home.
What's the number in the game? Do you know?
14.
14. That's a big number for a Pitt football team to lay on the left coast of the football game, who was really struggling just to win games, let alone win them by big margins.
Yeah.
And Stanford is, for maybe as much as you might say underachieved this year, they haven't thrown up the white towel yet. They haven't done that. They've been competitive in games when you're surprised that they wouldn't be.
They beat Florida State. They were 17-point underdogs, beat them outright.
There you go,
At home.
And look at Pittsburgh laying doubles on the road. Last 25 games, they've covered the spread 8 times. This is not their role. This is not the role for the Pitt Panthers here. I think Stanford could take this game right down to the wire. I agree with you.
I agree. I mean, they beat Boston College. They were 14-point dogs to BC, beat them by 10. The Florida State game, maybe Florida State should have won. Definitely not covering 17 in that game. But you want to give 14 to this team? I had Stanford last week because Miami, I figured, 30-point faves. I wasn't interested in them. They scored with like 20 seconds left to punch it in like the SOBs that they are down there. Had to got to make the boosters happy. I thought for sure after a loss and their season, because they're not winning the ACC, Miami. You need Georgia Tech and Virginia to both lose, and then Louisville to lose again. Like they might not even make the playoffs. So where's their heart? Yeah, but again, Stanford here, I'm with you. I mean, too big a number for Narduzzi and Pitt. I don't care how good that quarterback's been lately. I don't do that on the road. 14-point road faves. That is not a recipe for success, Mark. Tell them.
No,
That's
not at all. Not at all. And but besides, their quarterback has got a little bit of a hot hand here right now.
He does.
Yes, he does.
A freshman kid.
Yeah, he's a freshman. Exactly right. Threw for 423 yards in that win over, or the knockout win over NC State. That was impressive. So I say we make Stanford a show play. I say we do.
I like it. 14.5. Stanford. Plus 14.5. Can't get any worse than our dogs last week. We'll go off. I wrote these down from. This is just the NFL. We'll talk because we had a bunch of NFL, and then I'll get to the comments.
You can't find a dog in the NFL that you could talk about.
12-2 favorites. 12-2 last week. 22-6. The last 2 weeks combined, favorites against the number, which makes sense to why I'm like 41-37, hovering, barely above 500 or 53%, scraping by. Favorites on the year, 83-35 straight up, 66-53 against the spread. Good for 55.5%. Public, they should be out buying Bitcoin, gold, and silver because it's raining money when the fades are hitting 56%. And the last 2 weeks.
Here's the thing that concerns me a little bit, Sean, though. Tell me if I'm wrong in the way I'm looking at this. Normally, when you see favorites on a roll like they've been on the National Football League, especially a 2-week roll, the odds makers will adjust them. They'll boost them up because they know the public's coming right back with money in both fists to bet more favorites. We didn't see that this week. There's not very many large favorites on the football card this week. And I think the answer to that might largely be in the fact that there aren't a lot of good teams in the National Football League. The teams that are bad are very, very bad. So you're asking these bad teams to cash against these good football teams, and they're just not showing the capability of doing that. That's one of the reasons the favorites are getting by and stealing the money here this football season. So if I'm going to fade a favorite in the National Football League, and I'm going to be fading some favorites this week because I know it's going to come back to the norm, I'm going to look for some winning dogs, teams that are winning teams to do just that, because I think they'll have a chance to either win the game or at least cash that ticket.
Last night we had a 7 or 8 point favorite there with the Ravens, and I didn't play it. Part of me wanted Miami, and I thought, you know what? If Miami's going to be in it, they got to score. You got to like the over. I ended up not playing anything on it because the Ravens still a good team. I was concerned about what I saw their defense like. Has it improved, or is it just who they play to make them look like they're improving?
He kind of got their attention. When Tua talked out about the team not getting together and going their own way and doing things. They held another meeting with McDaniel, and they kind of did play good, but they played good against Cleveland. And the thing that showed up last night is the same thing that showed up in Mike McDaniel's career with the Miami Dolphins.
Can't score.
Didn't score a point in the second half.
They had 3 trips inside the 17, 15-yard line, couldn't score.
Yep. I mean,
not a zero, not a field goal.
Nope. That's pathetic. I mean, he continually gets outcoached in the second half of football games. It could have and probably should have been worse than that. But, Baltimore was a little bit tender, if you will, as Lamar Jackson was. He didn't run for many yards as expected in the football game.
Again, for them, they just got to get out healthy. It's his first game back. It was a short week for everybody else. He didn't play Sunday, so they just had to get out of there with a win. And they got to run the table. So they're just happy with a win, get out of there, move on to.
Well, they're favored to win the AFC North right now. Baltimore.
It's crazy. Like, you're telling me they're going to run just through everybody, their entire schedule?
Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think going into this week, they were only 2 games back of the lead. And they could certainly make up 2 games in the second half of a season, especially in that weak division as it is. And with Lamar Jackson being back in place and figuring there's got to be some improvement from the defense from this Baltimore Raven team, I can understand the reason of making them the favorite. Who else is going to be the favorite in that division? Not Cleveland, not Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. You never know what you're going to get with Pittsburgh. So
Cleveland will probably make a quarterback change again, probably give Sanders some looks. Flacco it looks like he's available to play now. So it went from a 1 there jumped up to a 3. It's ticked back down here like a 2, 2.5 with Flacco able to play with his shoulder. And when he got out of the Steelers, you really want to bet the Steelers, giving up 68, 69 points, whatever they've got in the last 2 weeks? I'm not looking to bet the Steelers.
Well, that's the reason, though, Sean, that it makes them a handicap this week. And that's what I'm going to get into here. Is you have
the Colts,
against the Colts, who I think are vastly overrated. I know they're winning games and putting up points and covering spreads, and there's not enough room on the seat on the Indianapolis Colts freight train right now. But I keep pounding this and keep saying this, that 6 of the last 7 games they've allowed season-high yardage. And that is going to bite you, and I think it's going to bite them against Pittsburgh this week for a couple of reasons. Number one, you've got Pittsburgh at home off an embarrassing home loss. You don't get Mike Tomlin at home off a home loss in very many situations where he does not respond. And he's also terrific in his career in responding when his team allows 35 or more points the previous game. He's money in the bank. Then you've got Aaron Rodgers also at home off a home loss, and go look at him at Green Bay. It didn't happen a whole lot losing games at home, but when he did, he rang the register. So I think you're going to find an inspired team here in Pittsburgh who might finally expose the Colts. I wish they had a little better defense in Pittsburgh, but I still think they're the handicap.
I had Pitt last week against Green Bay. I'm like, I got him a home dog. I got Aaron Rodgers versus the guy they wanted to replace him with. I thought it was a good spot, or 2 weeks ago versus the Packers, was not last week. And nothing. Are you kidding me? What a terrible. And no, it was last week, right? It was last week, because they had the extra time off from their Thursday collapse against the Bengals. I thought it was a good. I'm like, I was licking my chops for that game, and then they totally screwed the pooch. I'm with you on this is a spot to take the Steelers again. I just can't do it. I can't. I mean, I'm 100% agree with everything you said. Colts, house money. They look great. The score. I mean, how are they scoring so much, Mark? Like, I get the defensive side of things. They should have lost to the Chargers. That was a fluky kind of play there, with the ref call. But they've beaten who's in front of them, right? That's what it's about. You play the teams, you put up the points. They've put up points versus everybody. And the way the Steelers have been playing, I can see them putting up points on Steelers. I might have to do just a total in this game.
Well, what's about the Colts is I mentioned about how really, really, really shaky their defense is. It doesn't appear to be that way, but it is. Their offense is also, like you said, putting up points, but the yards don't match. The cuffs and the collars don't match with this Colts football team. And eventually, the cuffs and the collars are going to show. You've got to start putting up more points for yards. You put up, 41 points against Tennessee on 360 yards. You don't do that in the National Football League. They put up 40 points against Vegas on 317 yards. That just the math doesn't work there. It just doesn't work. So that's another flip side of the Colts that I don't like is the cuffs and the collars.
You know what? We'll put the Steelers out here because I do like them, even though I'm not betting myself. I just because I got a bad taste in my mouth from last week. But I agree with everything you said. We'll use Steelers today. Let me flip my page here for the NFL. 18-13 with the NFL because it was a dog debacle last week. It was like one of those sad little videos that you turn on and it's like some sad song comes on with the heart of an angel, little sad little dogs in cages. That was us last week.
Yep.
That was us with our dogs. It was a horrible thing. We need the ASPCA to come help us. But we're bouncing back. Pittsburgh +3. First game here.
Again, they fill the formula, Sean, winning team dog after the favorites have rolled. That's a nice little formula.
And they are rolling. They are rolling 12-2 ATS last week. And I love when I get on the X at Twitter today, people are like, oh my God, I'm crushing in the NFL. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that you're winning in the NFL.
Yeah.
The favorites are hitting at a 90-30 rate straight up this season of the NFL. Here we go. Back to college. Big favorite. Boise State. A Boise State -17 here against Fresno from our guy Mark. This one was not on my plate of games to look at. Okay. That's for no particular reason, because it just didn't pop out at me. But Boise comes in 17-point favorite. Last time they played 2 years ago, Fresno's actually won the last two in this matchup, believe it or not. Interesting. 2023 and 2022. Boise's won 3 in a row. Fresno's dropped a couple. Boy, they lost to that Colorado State team. Yeesh. Boy, oh man. So yeah. Well, make it happen. I know you're gonna try to talk us into Fresno here. Boise's still holding on. They have life with who that Tulane lose last night. You got your Group 5 alive. Boise coming out of the ground like the Undertaker. They have life. They have life, like that meme where he's coming out of the coffin. They're alive, Mark. They're alive here.
Well, when I'm looking for a dog, and I love to find that winning team is a dog, which they are, Fresno here. I don't like the revenge situation here at all, though. I mean, you're going into double instead of looking for double. And then you look at their body of work for Fresno State. I say when I log things, I'd log everything I do manually, and everything that's a loss is in red ink, and everything that was a positive is in black ink. I see a lot of red ink on this Fresno State team page here. They've lost the money 4 games in a row. So you get the only thing I think might salvage something for them is the fact that they were blanked their last game. They got shut out, and you'll find winning teams that get shut out probably come back pretty good the next game, which was Fresno State in this particular role. I just don't like Boise having a double revenge factor in their football game on their favor on the blue turf here. So I'm going to beg out, lean to Boise State, but it's not my kind of play.
San Diego State on deck for Boise. A bigger name, Sand School, for a Cali school coming to play. Maybe it's a little flat spot for them. Fresno, by the way, with their little wins here, they got wins over, you mentioned 4 straight non-covers. They started your covering, but you know what? When you're like a -1 favorite or a +1 and you win those games, that's a toss-up to me. I'm not impressed by your ATS 3 and 5. That's could very well be 1 and 7 when I look at that one there. Not impressed. First 5 innings. Here we go. We have first 5 inning guys. Yep. Listen, Jess, you got to be first 5 innings, as we were talking about earlier in the show with the way these starters are, right? 5 inning guys now. Not the old days. We're not going 8. Georgia-Florida game from our guy John Putnam. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party on a neutral. Georgia, a 7-point favorite. Florida looking for a new coach. Georgia, honestly, they might be looking for a new coach if Kirby can, win some big games here. He lets Alabama beat them every year. Again, this is kind of not Penn State-ish, but sort of Penn State-ish. Where's the mentality down in Florida? It's your neck of the woods down there. It's your state. They still fighting for the Gators down there or no?
I think they are. I'm glad. I know they're glad to see the head coach gone. They can build anew. And I'll say this: rivalry is fierce as it gets. The largest outdoor cocktail party. And the last 12 times that Georgia has gone into this game coming off a win and cover, Florida has won the money all 12 times, beat them outright 10 times. So it doesn't take a lot to get Florida up for the Georgia Bulldogs in a football game like this. And you just have to wonder if Georgia's approach to this game is the same as intensity that's always been in the past with all of the ugliness that's going on with this Florida football program here. I'd reach for the clothespin, apply it, hold my nose, and take the points here.
Florida +7 for Mark here, John. I don't know. I see I'm on the other side. I just think when these teams, they haven't been good. I know that's, hey, we got rid of our coach, but how to look after they fired the coach? They didn't do anything last game. I mean, they fired the coach after a win. Who are they looking at down there? Is it going to be a Kiffin filling in? Who are they looking at?
Well, right now, John Summerall is a real big name right now on everybody's shopping list, and he'll end up somewhere at a big program, and it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up going there. And I don't know if they need to necessarily have Florida ties to bring him in there. I just want a coach that wins, and he would probably fit the bill. So my early cast of vote might be John Summerall.
I mean, Florida, LSU, Penn State, even UCLA, still a big name, program name wise overall in the college. A lot of openings, a lot of should be interesting. If they're going to go with not the retreads, but we're going to take a guy from another school, buy him out to come here, whatever, or are they just going to grab the hot shot coordinators? Right? Everybody wants a hot shot OC to come in and run shows. That should be interesting.
I've seen so many times here of late, Sean, and I don't know if it's me but these offensive coordinators that take off football programs, most of them really fail more often than they win. And a large reason is because it's what they are. They're offensive coordinators. They're not head coaches. And it's kind of like rising to a Peter principle level for these guys. They just have a real difficult time. If you're an offensive coordinator, the first thing you have to do is surround yourself with coaches, talent.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I say this about Coach Prime.
Yep.
He can get kids in and recruit, get a bunch of players. You need other guys who are better, whether at offense or defense, whatever you are. You need help. It makes everybody better. All right, he might get a job somewhere else down the road, your coordinator, but you know what? If your team's winning, it's not gonna make a difference. Iron sharpens iron, man. These guys want to do everything themselves, and they just fail miserably. I'm with you 100%. 100% these coordinators. See, let's look at just in football. They hire defensive coordinators, and offense are just pathetic, right? Remember the Jets with bringing off Salah? How was that offense? Terrible.
Robert Salah, it's not much any better right now because they're the New York Jets.
Another defensive guy.
Yes, exactly right.
You need again, we could go on tangents for this stuff. There, we got 8 likes. That's all we got here on the YouTube this morning. Hold on a second. I mean, a lot more watching on the X. 10 likes, 12 watching. Not bad. The ratio is excellent if you're on YouTube, but not a lot of people are watching on YouTube. It's all right. If you want to lose, stop betting. 100%. Unless you like losing with FanDuel, because then they just give you a credit back. I don't get it. I can't stand that. Right? I saw last night come up, or maybe 2 nights ago, Mark, for some basketball player got hurt. Oh, it's I forgot what it's called. Some from injury, guy leaves a game. If you bet the game, bro, you lost. And I don't care if the guy gets hurt. This is life. No refunds. How are these places making money? We know how they're making money, because you give a guy a refund, he's just going to rebet it anyway on something.
I think they're giving refunds, Sean, on the prop portion part of that, not the game itself. So, if you bet a player in a game and he left the game because of an injury, they'll kill the prop. But I don't think they'll kill a flat bet. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, the prop. It's the prop nonsense. It's still the same thing. If you're going to give, I'm waiting for a lawsuit to be filed, because if you're going to say, well, this guy's out, so here's your little refund because a superstar gets hurt. Well, why can't I, as a guy who took his team, get my refund? If the best player's out, where's my money?
Well, I think they're trying.
We got to get some lawyers involved here.
Yeah, they're trying to prop betting is what they're doing, right?
We gotta get rid of legalization and bring it back old school style. Then there'll be no refunds. Nope, none, nothing. Maybe you get a free bet. You feel bad, so you can wind it up to your agent. Mr. Wisher says I got him drinking early today. This guy, he got jokes. Mars coming in. Vanderbilt. Oh, Vandy in Texas, Mark. Here's an interesting one. I took the under in this 45.5, and it's gone up, which I don't like to see. I don't know why it's gone up. Maybe they think Arch Manning's going to show up now in November, since he's been so great offensively so far this year. They think he's going to come out and play. Or, I can make the argument for the over because Vandy's played a couple tough games in a row, right? And this is why I kind of like the under. You played Missouri, you played LSU, you played Alabama. Here comes Texas. Texas is a defensive kind of first team. I don't know what Vandy has in the tank here. The 3.5 looks enticing, Mar. I don't know. I think they're trying to lure you in with that extra half point there. I didn't bet Texas, but I see the 3.5. And I told you this, Mark. I like 3.5, 7.5. I want to bet the fave. because I think in the long run, the hook is there to get some money off of the favorite because they think the favorite's going to win. I don't know. I like Texas. I like the under though. Under's the one I put my money on more.
Has Manning passed concussion protocol yet? Are you aware?
I haven't seen anything.
Arch
it
Manning?
Looked like he was going to. I mean, the word was he was going to play, even though he was in concussion protocol. But we don't know until I have yet to see something. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. If it's,
the number growing like it does almost speaks to that. As if they're expecting him to play in the football game.
Yeah.
But I think this is where
he hasn't been great.
What's that?
How's he been this year? He hasn't been.
No, he hasn't. No, but he's potentially really, really good. Potentially the first quarterback to come out of the draft if he even wants to, even not on such a keen year as he is. If he went into the draft next year, he would be the first player in the draft.
You think so this year for this year's draft come up? He'd be number one after this season?
Do you think any team in the National Football League is going to let Arch Manning pass them by? That might be the biggest mistake a team could make, to say, hey, we could have had Arch Manning and now he's breaking Peyton and Eli's records.
Oh man, I'm not drafting him. He looks, it's like taking like Anthony Richardson after like 6 starts. You want to take that guy? I mean,
well, you could have said the same thing about Josh Allen too when he went to Wyoming. He put up horrible numbers at Wyoming. His pass completion was less than 50%. I think his touchdown to interception ratio was almost near even.
Oh yeah, he was just. I remember watching some of those games on TV. I mean, he was just a tank, though.
Yep.
Yeah, but here's the thing with the draft: like they get enamored. It's like, oh, look at the arm strength. I mean, the guy was playing in like blizzards and he's whipping a ball 40 yards. So it's like that's impressive. Imagine if he had somebody to catch the ball and it wasn't a blizzard with 40-mile-an-hour winds. How would he be throwing?
Well, I'm all over Texas in this game. This is a spot that I really, really like, and it's because I chart AP number 1 ranked teams in the preseason and how they do throughout the course of the season. And with my database, I have the luxury of putting them in situations coming off a loss, off double spread losses, things like that. And this is a great role for AP preseason number 1 ranked teams when they're taking on a team that has a better record than they do, which obviously Vanderbilt does. And if that team that has the better record won only 7 or less games last year. They weren't much, but they stepped up this year. It's happened 14 times since 1984, and it's gone 13-1 against the spread, favoring the AP number 1 ranked preseason team. That's the Texas Longhorns here.
I think Texas in the chat. We're putting up Texas is an official play here. It's -3, -3 across the board here. Texas -3 because I like them too. I mean, I got the under, but I'm with you on. With the line and stuff like that. So I agree 100%.
Yeah. First of all, Vanderbilt hasn't played Texas a lot because Texas hasn't been in the SEC for only a couple of years. So there's not a lot of history to hang your hat on here. But, these are the kind of roles or numbers now that Vanderbilt's putting themselves into with this good play. They're taking at beginning of the football season, being the number 1 ranked team in Texas and them being Vanderbilt, this game, Texas would have been at least a 14-point favorite, but they're not. Now you're getting them at 3. So I think there's tons of value here to Texas. And Texas has still got a lot to play for and can do things. They can win out. They can make their way possibly. I'm not quite sure. You can double check me on this to the Big 12 championship game, make the college football playoff. And all you have to do is make the playoff. You don't have to be the number 2, number 3, 4 seed. All you have to do is leave the door open and let us in. Because Texas, if they get in the football playoffs, they will not be a team anybody will want to play. I can assure you that.
Well, I mean, no room to lose. You can't have 3 losses. I don't care. Tennessee, I mean, we'll talk about that after this Texas Tech game here against K-State. But like Tennessee and Oklahoma, you can't have 3 losses to get in because you can't have a 3-loss Texas and Tennessee and all these teams. No. It's this is win or go home time here. Get ready for my favorite bowl, the Pop-Tart Bowl. If you got 3 losses, you'll be in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
It's win out time for all these teams is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Texas Tech, speaking of winning out, they went out. They'd have 1 loss on here. 7-1 for the Red Raiders. I believe you had Arizona State here. You said, you know what, take them on the money line. This is a spot where Texas Tech gets tripped up. Spoken like the prophet you are. Here they are, though. a 7-point road fave over K-State, who's won 8 in a row over these guys. I like Texas Tech. It was 6.5 at 7. There's 7.5s out here now as well. You got K-State off of their big win crushing Kansas. Last time we saw K-State on the road, or excuse me, Texas Tech on the road, it was your big Arizona State win. I don't know. I think the Red Baron is supposed to be back here today.
Yeah.
And even if he's not, I know the one quarterback's out, but they still have another backup quarterback. I'm laying. I mean, the line moving up tells me all I need to know about this game here. I know that people kind of like the K-State quarterback, and I get it. He's been there for 50 years, right? I mean, between Daniels and Avery Johnson, these two guys for Kansas could be like the governor and lieutenant governor. They've seen them be in college for the last 40 years, right? I mean, right? I mean, well, give me Tech. I'm a Red Raider guy here.
Well, I'm not going to allow us to put Tech up as a play in the show because I like the other side.
Right.
And what I'm looking at here is a Texas Tech football team that they're good. I mean, they're ranking the top 10 offensively and defensively statistically, so they are the real deal. There's no question about that. And we're going to see how good they are when the college football playoffs get here against real good quality opposition. But you've got a pedigree home dog here in Kansas State who does nothing but win football games, especially at home. And you look at the history in the series here. I mean, my goodness, 7 times in a row. You're looking at the Red Raiders coming up here in their last 9 games in the series, 0-7 straight up, 0-6-1 to the spread. I think this is an ideal spot for Kansas State to salvage their football season here and put them back on the map. I even called the upset in our newsletter here by 1 to win the football game. And I'm kind of like jumping off a Texas Tech bandwagon that I was on from the get-go at the beginning of the football season here. But sometimes when you play so well and you get to be so popular, you also end up carrying extra added weight. And I think that's what Tech is doing here. They're carrying some extra added weight here that I think is going to not serve them well in this contest.
You know, K-State started slow, but they've won and covered, I think, 3 of the last 4. So, and again, I think at the beginning of the year, K-State was one of the favorites here. And I know that the Big 12 was like really botched together of who could win.
Yes.
Right? It was, it started with K-State in the opener in Ireland. Like, all right, somebody's going to have the lead on who's going to have the upper footing here to win the Big 12 between the winner of this game and Ireland. And it's pretty much looked like that. I mean, we've seen, Texas Tech here 7-1, the best of the bunch, but it is a wide open Big 12. I mean, Houston's at 7-1, although their loss is to Texas Tech, but it's an interesting Big 12 year. Speaking of the year, 8 weeks left. Where's the time gone? That's for sure, Darryl. He does not like our Stanford bet. Does not like our Stanford play. That's all right. John Putnam, Duke versus Clemson. I got to say, I kind of like Duke here. I don't care if Kate Klubinak's back. I mean, Clemson has not been impressive all year, even when the guys played. I'm not interested in Clemson. Duke's got the best quarterback. I'll take Duke as a dog here, +3.
In our newsletter, this issue, Sean, we have a feature that we do every time when November rolls around in college football. And what we do is we chart these teams and their stats, and everybody that's won all their yardage games or all but one, we say that they're putting on the stats. And anytime these teams who are in this club take points moving forward, they do really, really well. Duke is one of those football teams. They've only lost to the stats 1 time this year, and here they're the dog to Clemson, who's gone backwards as far, I think, in prestige as far as a football team can possibly go. And Andy Diaz has got this Duke football team playing some pretty good football right now. I'm going to put the stats on with Duke and be with you. I like them in this game as well.
We're taking them for the show. Duke +3. Duke +3 here on a Football Friday. If you haven't already been here 54 minutes, hit the like. Hit the like here for all the free picks we're rolling out here. Our best bets, again, at gamblersworld.net. We got a special holiday spooktacular because it is Halloween today. Mark, are you a full-size candy bar guy or do you give out bite size?
Why would I want to stop at 1 bite, Sean? You talking about passing them out, you mean?
Yes.
Or eating them?
Both.
Well, I always, when I was a kid, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same way, when you went out Halloween trick-or-treating, we would go out and we'd try and fill 2 bags full of candy. That was our goal. And it didn't matter whether they were large or small or whatnot, as long as that bag got filled. But the older you got, the more resentment you kind of felt when the people were giving you the little bite-sized candies rather than the full candy bars. And I was kind of embarrassed, I think, in our neighborhood to be passing out bite-sized. So we're up to full candy bars, passing them out. And that's kind of the way it is here in this world we live.
So when and I'm not a big Halloween going around trick. I could count on my hands the times I went around. I think maybe like one time, maybe like a sophomore, my friends like, oh, we went around. I put on a baseball hat on one of my jerseys. I wasn't really. I like just hanging out at my house because the girls would come by and be like, oh, look at us, we're all dressed up. Cheer on your friends. We went out with pillowcases back in the day. I was too cool. I was too cool for a plastic bag and one of the school bags you had. No, it was a pillowcase. You got to be, look at me. I got a pillowcase. I'm trick or treating with a pillowcase. But there's the two sides. Like where I'm at, I don't get a lot of kids at my house trick or treating, right? So I got a limited supply of food to give out. I'm having out sandwiches. I'm grilling hamburgers in the cul-de-sac. So I don't have a lot because there's not a lot come by, right? I don't open. A lot of people here will open a garage and have like a whole big display out, come around. I got no time for that. I'm doing videos. It's freaking the Football Friday. I mean, really, I'm going to hand out a bunch of stuff. But like my mom's side, she gets a bunch of kids. So she gives out like 5-10 bags. So she doesn't give out full size. I appreciate the full size if it's a normal amount of kids. Like I gave out full sizes before because I don't get a lot of kids. I'm going to get 100 kids. It's not a lot. Dude, my mom, where I grew up, holy cow. Like they'd come in by the busload in our neighborhood. Like you're giving out like, oh, here's like one now and later. You'd have literally thousands of kids and she'd have 10, 15 bags from Costco giving out and be out of food. Hey, do you have any stuff you can bring over for me? I'm handing out bags of popcorn now. Like she's got nothing. She gets totally, they just come to her house. I guess they know she's a grandma. They found her. So she's a bite-sized house because she's like, I'm not, because she's like, why are you getting those big Hershey's? I'm like, she's like, oh, I can't afford that. Like she's like, I need like 40 of those boxes. See, that's how many people she gets, youngsters. A lot.
One thing I used to really dig too, also, Sean, was people who instead of passing out candy, passed out money, and it was nice to see what kind of a haul you got. They might have been quarters back then when half dollars were popular. They might have been them, but it was nice when you come home and you did a inventory of your candy bars, and you also had $2.25 in cash. That was really a nice night.
Yeah, people would give out. I remember getting like the $half.
Yep.
But then people would give out like a little like roll of like 5 cents, like a pennies, like in a roll,
Yep.
like a little roll. And you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, who's gonna be 5 cents? But times like 100 people, that guy's giving out like cash money at his house.
Yes, he is.
We could get into it. There's a great cartoon. It's a episode of Gravity Falls, Mark. It's called Summerween, and it's the Halloween trickster, and it's a giant like little monster that he's made out of loser candy. So it's like candy corns, like the Nico wafers. They got like the powder on it, like all the worst candy you can think of. He's like this giant monster of loser candy. I love it. It makes me laugh every time because it's the truth. It's like who gave out Nico wafers, bro? Who wants that nonsense? Like, give me a freaking candy bar. I want some chocolate. I can do Jolly Ranchers. I don't mind it. Like a Tootsie Roll. I saw my wife's like, oh, we got to go. We went out to eat last night. We went out to eat. It was our big night out. Like my daughter had a game. She was a trainer for football. My son was at college doing his HVAC. So we're like, oh, let's go out together. So we went to Hat Creek, got some burgers. So let's go to Walmart because I want to go to check out the new Walmart to remodel it. They have vanilla Tootsie Roll. So I'm in the candy. I'm like, what is this crap?
Really?
Vanilla Tootsie Roll. I took it. I threw it down the aisle. She's like, you can't do that. I said, I just did. It shouldn't be on a shelf. A vanilla Tootsie Roll.
It doesn't.
What
sound
is that
right.
nonsense?
It doesn't sound right.
Tootsie Roll should be that disgusting little chocolate nugget.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got some more. We didn't even hit a lot of football today. Let's a lot of NFL. We got to give out at least another NFL because we've been an hour. We've only to give one NFL pick on the Steelers. Let's find an NFL one to give out here. Maybe if you want to shoot through a couple real fast here. Atlanta, New England, it's 5.5. We're talking about big lines. Green Bay, Carolina, 13.5 there. Detroit, 8.5 over Minnesota. Here's Houston, Denver. This is one right up your alley. Why do I feel like you'll be on the Texans here with me? Let's get. I want to give out the Texans. Are you going to talk me off giving out the Texans here -1.5 at home? Or let's call it a -120 at home here, money line.
Well, I like Houston in the game, and I would go so far as to play them on a money line, which I did.
Money line. There we go.
There you go.
Excellent.
Yep, Houston on the money line.
Houston money line. I'm going to say in this spot, I am not sold on Bo Nix. I know he's looked good the last couple weeks, put on a lot of things. Second-year quarterback, I don't know. The line looks a little fishy from a dog to a fave here for the Texans, who've had a plethora of injuries all over the joint. So this one here, a little too good to be true. I know people will be running to take Denver. Would this be our guy, King Creole? Would this be one of his Wong teasers here, right? With Houston as a little fave. I know he doesn't like crossing zero. To me, I'd rather bump this up. I'd bump this puppy up with maybe Buffalo at home to plus kind of stuff. I know that's frowned upon, but that's what I would do, because the next thing I'm going to go to would be the KC Buffalo game. Get some plus.
Well, he tried to get this Houston teased into 2 numbers. Let it fall on 2 key numbers. I don't know if you can with where they're at right now, but they're worth a look anyway.
Or probably Detroit. Probably he'd probably jump on with the 8.5, pull it down a little. But how about Buffalo and KC before we get out of here?
Interesting stat here, Sean. The whole world's going to watch this game because it is the best game in the league this week, maybe even arguably the year, depending upon how it all plays out. But there's a clearly defined line of what's happened between these 2 football teams here of late, and it's Buffalo in the regular season, Kansas City in the playoffs. Buffalo's won and covered 4 in a row against Kansas City in the regular season, and Kansas City's won and covered 4 in a row against Buffalo in the playoffs. And Kansas City knocked Buffalo out of the AFC Championship game last year. That's what I call meaningful playoff revenge. When they denied you were one step away from the Super Bowl, and the other team denied you. They took your spot in its place, and I think Buffalo will be up as high as they could possibly be for a football game this year. Put me down for the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo. I'm adding our college football pick here. You want to take the Bills? All right, I'm going to put the Bills down for you here. I'm a little torn on this one here, but I know people want this game, so we're going to throw it out here at a plus 110 here for the NFL pick. The regular season has been the Bills to win here. I saw a guy, Jesse Shuley, I was talking about this, and he said the same thing you said. Regular season, Bills have taken care of business. Playoff time, not so much when it comes to this series. I on Monday night, you look at that game and I thought, and again, I had Kansas City at an early number before it got up with the quarterback Dan was going out. I said, you know what, they're going to jump out here fast. They got a huge rivalry game on deck, conference battle, all that stuff. Maybe they kind of take it fast start and pump the brakes in the second half, get out healthy. That was a game into the fourth quarter. So I don't think KC wants to play that kind of style. Do you think coming into this, I like the KC defense as always, and KC to me has been an improved squad. Why is it just based on Mahomes and Reed that they are a dog here with Buffalo? Like, this is kind of like the Baltimore game to start the year. Buffalo started as like a 1-point fave and moved to a 2-point dog, right? Or a 1-point dog. This game was Kansas City was favored the entire time, and I'm wondering why.
Well, because they're the scintillating hot team in the NFL right now. Everybody's watching them steamroll teams. Everybody's reading that they're back, they're healthy. They're the Kansas City of old, and why do you want to step in front of this freight train at this point of the season here? Well, freight trains don't run forever. They always eventually run out of gas. They have to stop and refuel. And I think this is a pit stop for Kansas City in Buffalo here this particular week. So I'm a little bit with you. I thought if the Buffalo people were out there in mass, this game would have come down to pick. We haven't seen that yet. We may, but we haven't seen it yet. So as long as the dog is out there, I'm riding with the Bills in this game.
And there you go. I put them in the chat here for those interested on our college football picks. We're over an hour. We're going to get out of here. Our college football plays: Stanford plus 14.5, Texas -3, Duke +3, Steelers +3, Texans, money line minus 120. Bills plus the 110 for the NFL. So there is that. Those are three things. San Francisco Giant game. Really, John? On the way out, do you want to talk about this hot mess? What? Listen, this is what I say to Giant fans. Sorry that you lost Neighbors. Skidaboo. I mean, I don't know if that guy's ever going to be the same. I know people are like, oh, it's only a broken leg. Dude, the guy's skin was breached. I don't know how good that guy's going to be after the fact. This game here, this would just have to be an under for me because I know San Fran's missing guys on defense, but the offense has been a cluster, and I failed with them last week against the Texans. The Giants, I don't want anything to do with this game. You want anything to do with this game? I can't bet this game. 2.5. Giants, San Fran 2.5-point favorite.
I don't want anything to do with it either, but I also don't want to be laying favorites this week if I don't have to. So, I would beg out of it or play the Giants only if you put a gun to my head.
And there's a lot of little ones. 2.5. I mean, Chicago 2.5. We talked about the Colts game. Houston, the 1.5 flipper. Vegas is a 3-point favorite at home. Kansas City, Buffalo against short line. Seattle on the road. Here's one. You know what? How about we'll give out one more here? I don't want to take Washington. I don't love Washington, but I'm not looking to lay Seattle 3 on the road here. And how is this total 48? Seattle has a good defense that no one talks about. Do people just forget that Seattle exists out west? This is a solid little team, but again, on the road, favorite, not a place I want to play them.
Part of the reason I think they're favorite, Sean, is all the success they've had away from home with McDonald as their head coach. I think he's something like, I don't know, I could be wrong, 14-3 straight up on the road since he's been their head coach at Seattle.
Really? All right.
Yeah. So, but again, no favorites for me. No favorites for me this week. Sorry.
If you want to grab a little home dog, Washington +3, there you go. There you go. But we're going to get out of here. It's been a long show for everybody. I know I didn't hit everybody's picks. We were just talking about a lot of stuff today, so I apologize for that. There's always next week on the live here on the YouTube channel. GamblersWorld.net for our best bets. Again, the free picks: Stanford +14.5, Texas -3, Duke +3, NFL Steelers +3, Texans on the money line -120, Bills money line +110. Free picks are free picks. Mark, what do you got for Saturday and Sunday NFL?
I've got my college football underdog game of the year Saturday, and it's not a game we talked about, which is good. So nothing have been exposed about that. And when you read the write-up on this game, your jaw is going to drop, just absolutely drop what I found in this football game. That's all available along with all my weekend stuff at gamblersworld.net.
There we go. A big monster game of the week for Marc Lawrence at gamblersworld.net. Probably a good day to get his the 3-for-4 spooktacular. Get Saturday, Sunday, Monday all included. Tuesday college. You might have college football game on Tuesday. We have football every day, folks. Go get it at gamblersworld.net. That's it. That's a wrap. Happy Halloween. Go stuff your face. Full-size bars only. I used to like whatchamacallits as a kid. I'm just going to leave the show with that. I don't know. Whatchamacallits. There we go. We're out of here. Take it easy, Mark.
Happy trick or treat, Sean. Thanks.